Hi, I'm Chef Tony Matassa with BBQGuys.com. In this video, we'll be making brisket low and slow via the magic of time-lapse video overnight in our blaze-kamado. Let's get to it. The brisket we're cooking today is about 16 pounds. I'll go ahead and trim off the fat. I like to trim the fat cap, leaving about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. This will be enough fat to render and keep the brisket juicy while it cooks. For our dry rub, we'll be keeping it pretty simple today. We'll just use a little coarse black pepper, some kosher salt, and a little brown sugar. Coating the brisket first with a little olive oil will help our rub to stick, giving us a nice thick bark. Coat the brisket well on all sides with the rub, then you can set it in the fridge while you prep the grill. For a low and slow kamado setup, I like to light my charcoal from the top with a couple handfuls of lit coal. Once your coals are glowing, pour them over the unlit charcoal. With a pair of tongs, spread the coals out a little so the fire catches in a few different spots. Now you can close the lid and let the kamado begin preheating while you prep the water pan. Today in my drip pan, I'll be using a 50-50 blend of apple juice and water. We'll be smoking our brisket fat cap up, so this will help to add some nice moisture as the heat rises from the coals. For our smoke today, we'll be using apple wood, about 4 large chunks. Now we can place the middle grate. This is where the heat deflector sits. Place the water pan on the heat deflector, and then you can set in the cooking grids. Close the lid and allow the temperature inside the kamado to stabilize somewhere around 225 degrees. I have my top and bottom dampers set like this. The kamado's ambient temperature is now reading about 225. It's time to get this brisket on the grill. I'm putting it on fat cap up, and to monitor the progress, I'll put in this internal temperature probe around the center of the brisket. Before heading off to sleep, it's a good idea to wait to make sure that the ambient temperature inside your kamado has restabilized so that you can be sure that you don't have any slight adjustments to make to the dampers. When your blaze kamado is coasting around 225, you can tell it good night, and I'll see you in the morning. All right, our brisket has now been inside the kamado for 14 hours. Its internal temperature is reading 203. It's time to take it off the grill. Look at that beautiful bark. Now, the brisket gets a turn to rest. I have some heavy-duty aluminum foil lined with parchment paper. We'll go ahead and place it in there. It would totally be a crime to just let all that fresh juice that we just made go to waste. So we'll ladle a little bit of that action over and around. This is what cowboys' dreams are made of. Wrap the brisket with parchment, and then double wrap with aluminum foil to keep in all the juice. I'll admit, this stretch of waiting is the hardest part of this whole process. Place the wrapped brisket in an ice chest to rest for 2 to 4 hours. This will allow the connective tissue to break down a little further. Believe me, this step will pay you back later when you're at the cutting board. After your brisket's had a long nap, it's finally the moment that makes this whole process worthwhile. Time to slice and eat. The first cut I'll make is down the fat line of the brisket, so you can kind of see it right here running around the side. The knife is going through like butter. Look how tender that is. Next, I like to slice off the burnt ends. Be careful who you cut this around. They are a BBQ delicacy, and they'll definitely disappear off your cutting board before you know it. I'll slice the rest of the brisket, which is a good time for you to sit back and enjoy the view.
Juicy and tender. That's some beautiful brisket. Oh man, look at those juices. At BBQGuys.com, we smoke the competition.